Is Sonya Deville going to get her ass kicked, or will Ronda Rousey suffer the first one-on-one defeat of her WWE career? The question might not be that hard, but we'll find out the answer tonight. Regardless, guys, on another edition of SmackDown on the road to WrestleMania. Welcome back to Fog Wrestling. It's your SmackDown preview for the 4th of March 2022, and the big talking point of tonight's show is Ronda Rousey wrestling her first ever match on SmackDown. And the fact that Ronda Rousey's wrestling on SmackDown, I mean, it kind of makes me sick. I've been saying for years, why can't we get Brock Lesnar wrestling on TV? We had Ronda Rousey. In fairness, she was doing it on Raw when she was part of the Raw roster, a few years ago in her first stint. And now she's having a match on SmackDown in the build-up to WrestleMania. I'm not expecting this match to be a classic. I'm not expecting this match to go 20 minutes. But it's a match nonetheless. And I mean, I'm hoping it's competitive. I don't think it will be. I think Ronda Rousey will just blow out Sonya Deville. But, I mean, that would kind of suck in my opinion if that's what they do. But, yeah, why can't we get this with Brock Lesnar? I mean, Brock Lesnar taking on Roman Reigns at Mania. Surely, on the build-up to Mania, we could have Brock Lesnar against somebody. What about Brock Lesnar versus the Usos? Even in a handicap match, I just don't see why Brock Lesnar can't wrestle on TV. It makes no sense to me. I used to think it's because Brock Lesnar didn't want to. Brock Lesnar didn't have the time. Brock Lesnar wasn't interested. But I'm beginning to think more and more it's probably WWE in the booking, and that they're probably believing that Brock Lesnar's this major attraction and they're not wanting to give him away on free TV. But it's not like you have pay-per-views anymore. I mean, the network's $9.99. It's hardly fucking making you millions. So, I don't know. I mean, I think Brock Lesnar should be wrestling on TV, but we know we ain't going to get that. We don't even know if Brock's on the show tonight. But we do have Ronda Rousey. We do have Sonya Deville. Should be a good match. If it is a match, it probably will be a 30-second beatdown, but we'll see. I think Sonya's alright in the ring, and, Ronda Rousey, albeit hasn't looked great since she came back, but she was very, very good in her first stint. So if she can, find some of that performance, then who knows? This could be a decent match if they have a match. But I think it's kind of sad that probably the longest running feud in WWE was Sonya Deville versus Naomi. But even though they never had matches until just recently, that went on for months, where Sonya obviously had a bone to pick with Naomi. She was like bullying her. She was stacking the odds against her on SmackDown every week. They were always meeting backstage. They were always having confrontations. I mean, that feud went on forever. But it seems like all of a sudden, just because Ronda Rousey's now on SmackDown, they went, well, Rousey's a bigger star than you, Naomi. Rousey's, in our plans for a big match at Mania. So we're just going to take the authority figure that you're feuding with and put her into a feud with Ronda Rousey. So now Sonya Deville versus Naomi is now turned into Sonya Deville versus Ronda Rousey. I mean, it is what it is, but it's a bit lame that they've just decided to kind of stop that feud to try and stack the odds against Rousey, because that's essentially what they're doing here by having the authority figure on the side of Charlotte Flair. I mean, it is what it is. I just think it's lame that they've spent months building up Sonya Deville and Naomi just to cut it straight away and essentially move it on to Sonya Deville versus Ronda Rousey. But who cares? Whatever. It's their decision, not mine. Hopefully the match happens tonight, but I wouldn't count on it. A match that will happen tonight, 100%. WWE Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn defends against Ricochet. I seen an article that Ricochet is positioned as the number 2 babyface on SmackDown behind Brock Lesnar. What the actual fuck? How can this jabroni, how can this I was going to say £200, how can this £120 midget guy with no charisma, no mic skills, no nothing? I mean, the only time this guy was, I wouldn't even say relevant, but the only time this guy got over was when he was, I wouldn't even say he got over, the most relevant this guy ever was when he wore a mask and no one could see his fucking face and he didn't speak, and he went by the name of Prince Puma, and he was doing some weird shit where his uncle was killing people in cages. I mean, fucking hell. Apart from that, this guy's career went nowhere. I don't know how. SmackDown, honestly, is in a really bad way if Ricochet is the number 2 babyface behind Brock Lesnar. There's no way Ricochet wins tonight. He shouldn't have beat Sheamus last week clean. There's no money in Ricochet. This is a guy that would fit straight into AEW. I could just imagine this guy having a super kick party with all those other vanilla midget spicky bums on AEW. So I've got no interest in seeing him. Sami Zayn, on the other hand, a guy that I also would have put in the same category as Ricochet a few years ago, has came on leaps and bounds, has actually developed a character, and has actually been entertaining. Sami Zayn, I think if you're being honest, like the past 2 years, he would probably be in the top 10 in WWE. He'd probably be in the top 10 over the past 2 years based on what he's done, his work and his character work. He's had some good matches as well. You know, I just wish they kind of went more with the whole conspiracy thing. They seem to have just dropped that altogether. I was hoping for a payoff with that, but this is WWE. We don't really get payoffs, so, I mean, why are you surprised? Another title match, we've got the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, defending against the Viking Raiders. Raid your ass on fucking out of here. These two suck. The Usos will win. I mean, how can the Viking Raiders be in line for a title shot? Two fucking fat dudes that look like they belong in the fucking Vikings era. I mean, literally can't even speak English. About as much brain cells as fucking the English coming out of Shia Lee's mouth, so she probably knows more English words than these two have brain cells, and she knows fuck all in English, so it doesn't look good for the Viking Raiders. That seems to be it, guys, for tonight's show. Tag titles on the line, Intercontinental title on the line, Ronda Rousey versus Sonya Deville. No mention of Roman Reigns, no mention of Brock Lesnar, but, and I say but, it is rumoured that Vincent Kennedy McMahon, brother, could be on tonight's show. He was on Pat McAfee's podcast earlier in the week, and it looks like they are hinting at a possible match between McAfee and Vincent Kennedy McMahon at WrestleMania, and what I've got to say to that is, no chance. That's what you've got. There's no chance. We will not see McMahon in a match. If you genuinely believe McMahon at 75 years old is going to go out on the grandest stage of them all, where the most eyes are watching the company, and embarrass himself in the ring, then you are a fucking mongoloid. Just like Austin isn't coming back after 20 years at the ring, and people actually believe it. I don't know who starts this shit, whether it's just someone in WWE, they're trying to get attention, so they're trying to get some publicity, they're trying to get a movement behind it, or they're trying to pump you up for Mania, so they leak Austin having a match, or they leak McMahon having a match, or if it's Dave Meltzer, you know, trying to sell subscriptions, or some prick like that, they're trying to get you to buy their magazine, or buy their newsletter, or whatever, and they're spreading, as Donald Trump would say, fake news. Because there's no way, there's absolutely no way Austin and McMahon are having matches. Will they be at Mania? Maybe. Will they have an interaction? Maybe. Will they have some sort of physicality? McMahon, very doubtful. Austin, maybe. But in terms of a match, it's no happening. We'll not get Austin Owens. Nobody wants that anyway. And we'll definitely not get McMahon versus Pat McAfee. Maybe a more realistic option would be Shane McMahon versus Pat McAfee. But again, there's not many weeks to go before Mania. There's no real reason. There's no real build. There's no real feud. Yeah, McMahon was on Pat McAfee's podcast, but they got along well. There was no grudge or nothing like that. There was no animosity. So where would a match come from? It wouldn't really make sense to have a match. But when has ever making sense stopped the WWE from doing nothing? So, I mean, who knows? Maybe we could have a match. Maybe it could be the entire McMahon family versus Pat McAfee on a 4-on-1 brutal handicap match. Maybe Linda can do a 450 moonsault off the top rope through a table onto Pat McAfee. Maybe we'll get that. But I'm going to vote no, guys. I don't think it's happening. So there's your SmackDown preview. Will it be a good show? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, SmackDown was not, I'll be honest, SmackDown was the best show by a country mile up until the draft. Since the draft, they've kind of shafted the roster. They put Edge on Raw, they put Rollins on Raw. They've done SmackDown dirty, but I still think it's got potential to be better than Raw, because every Raw is garbage. So SmackDown essentially just needs one good thing to beat Raw. So there you go, guys. That's the preview. Will it beat Raw? Will it have one good thing? We'll find out later on tonight. But until then, share this video, like, subscribe, comment down below. And I'll catch you later. Peace.